Malvika Patel from Beverage Trade Network. I'm here today with Will Parsons. Hi, Will.
Hi there.
Will is the Vice President and the Global Portfolio Manager at Parsons Fine Imports in Columbus, Indiana. And we're just going to go through a few questions today about how he curates his portfolio, what are some factors that affect how he builds the portfolio at his company. So, Will, my first question to you is, as an importer, how do you identify wines that will resonate with both sommeliers and consumers in the U.S. market?
So we mainly import wines from the country of Georgia, which has a lot of indigenous varieties, 525, kind of around there. So it's hard to find some of those that immediately on paper resonate. It's different grapes, it's different styles of winemaking, very traditional methods. But we really look for kind of what is being poured at restaurants. And instead of finding a good comparison, like this drinks like a Chardonnay, this drinks like a Pinot Noir, we look at kind of what it's being paired with on the menu. And so when I work with sommeliers, I work with chefs even, beverage directors, restaurant managers, and I like asking also just people, I mean, what are you eating?
Right.
What style of wine are you pairing with that? And so as an importer, I look to bring in, instead of the next comp, or the next, champagne, the next Pinot Noir. I look, okay, what's something that I can bring in that I can educate people on, that I can share true kind of Georgian winemaking, share the history, the different grapes, but still kind of fit this this puzzle piece that they're already kind of working with.
Yeah, I understand. Like, because Georgian wines themselves stand out, so why make them to be something else?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm sure there is an education involved, as you said.
A lot of it,
Yeah. But because in the UK market, we find that Georgian wines have made quite an inroads. But I think in the US market, as you're mentioning, we're still making our way there, right? In fact, at our competition in London, we had a Georgian wine win, which was sitting in the cellar for 29 years.
Wow.
Yes. So we will talk about that wine a little later. I would like to introduce you to that wine too. Moving on. So what role do you think consumer behavior plays in the way you curate and manage your portfolio of wine?
Like I said, it's all about education.
Yes.
A lot of these grapes people aren't familiar with. And so you don't want to be intimidating, and a consumer wants to feel comfortable with something that they can order at a restaurant. So it is kind of hard when it is a name they're not familiar with. It's a grape that they can't pronounce. Even the importer has trouble pronouncing. So I like really kind of taking a few steps back. I want to provide all the education that I can. I want to really explore these indigenous varieties that a lot of people, even in Georgia, aren't familiar with, that are super rare. We bring in a few that are the only wine produced from that grape, but you do have to kind of start people out very basic, which is no problem. It's fun, but we take a couple steps back. Saperavi is the main red grape in Georgia, and it's super, super cool because it's a Teinturier grape. So unlike a lot of the other red grapes, it doesn't need a whole lot of skin contact to get a deep color because the juice is already red. So it's a fun selling point. It's a fun kind of piece of education. It's a rare style of grape, but it can be made in so many different ways. You can make a beautiful rosé. You can make great sparkling wine, dry, sweet. You can do all these different styles. So it's a great kind of finding people where they're at instead of forcing something on them that's maybe not what they're used to, not what they're drinking. And then Quetzaltelli is the main white grape. It's the main grape period in Georgia. And same thing. I mean, you can do skin contact. You can do dry white that can drink very similar to a lot of the stuff already the American palate is used to. You can do it in a bunch of different ways. And then so we start usually with those, and then we kind of work our way into other ones. Crisp whites, everybody knows kind of we're on a trend in the alcohol industry, especially, wine industry, that whites
are currently trending.
They're taking over. So we introduced them to some, high acid, lighter body whites. Sitska and Krakuna are some especially paired together. They're grapes from Western Georgia. So that's kind of where we're at. So we kind of, instead of bringing them to what we're passionate about and immediately trying to force some really complicated, really, really fun stuff, they'll get there eventually, but we like meeting people where they're at and like, hey, again, kind of what I was saying earlier, what are you drinking? What are you eating? Here's what you can pair with it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea that, let's invite consumers to have a Georgian wine, but in a palate that they're used to.
Exactly.
And then we'll lead them in. So I think that's great, yeah. Moving on to more of the business side of things.
Yes.
How do you build long-term relationships with wineries, especially because you're here and they're all the way in Georgia? What sort of support do you expect from them? How do you guys work together?
Well, it does start with trips to Georgia. With any sort of business, you can do it over the computer, over emails,
Yes.
but it really takes being face-to-face. And I think especially working with Georgian wine, that's the biggest part. Georgians are the most hospitable people on the planet.
Okay.
That's not an opinion. I feel like that is a true fact. When you're there, you truly feel like your family, you're treated like family. And so I think that's the biggest part of building a relationship with the winery is going there and supporting them, and they take care of you, and just really kind of stressing in that kind of moment of, fellowship and this community that you kind of build with the wine industry that, hey, in one way or another, we're taking care of you too.
Yeah, we're here, we're working together. It's not a one-off.
You welcome us in your homes and your wineries, and you treat us like family. And although it's not always as easy bringing the winemakers and everybody over here, we're trying to do that same thing on our side with bringing in your wine, telling your stories. We work with a lot of small, medium-sized, a lot of family wineries, co-ops and stuff. So really kind of providing that education. Like I said, it's the biggest part of my job is education. But then, I'm equally as proud when I get to, make a huge sale or just see the light in someone's eyes when they really like a wine, because I've been there and I've seen the light in the winemaker's eyes when they've poured me that wine that I've really enjoyed and gone through the effort to bring it here.
So I think because you're working with a lot of small to medium-sized wineries and winemakers, I think you're still doing the heavy duty on lifting on the education and the support part of things, right? Okay, great. And my last question is about the Sommeliers Choice Awards. So how do you think the Sommeliers Choice Awards help sommeliers and buyers make better choices behind the bar and in the restaurant?
I think when we strip away competition from the industry and just work as a collaborative, then that's where we find success. Because, it's no secret, the industry's hurting.
Yes.
There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of different laws and tariffs and everything. We want to shy away from it, but it's a serious issue. And alcohol consumption is on the low, it's on the decline. So we truly do need to band together more now than ever, and just kind of being here. And then I participated last year, and I just loved, sharing ideas, collaborating. And you could be beverage directors, sommeliers, and restaurants in the same city. And people think of that as being competition, like, oh, why go here and trust their wine list versus trust theirs? Why import from me versus somebody else, or buy from me? But there truly is no competition when you just have people that love this product and are passionate about this product. They want to share the stories. I think storytelling is, like I said, education. I'm stressing that so much.
No, I think it is one of the most important aspects of selling wine. So, if education is a major part of it. So
and opportunities like this where you get to kind of hear what other people in the industry are thinking, and you can take that back in your own profession, in your own restaurant or your own company, and say, hey, I learned some great things. And I know they do the same, and you kind of all get to experience the same thing, but you see a bunch of different points of view, which I think is really important, something that we're often kind of scared to ask, because I know I'm set in my ways in a lot of things. I know what I like, I know what I know, and then somebody else challenges that. It's hard to accept sometimes, but then it's humbling, and it's a really, really great experience, I feel like, for all parts of the industry.